Please repeat again.
So it's like it require man labor.
It requires man labor and
Mm. Very much time is required.
okay, it's a time consuming process. Also, water, we see that during the summer season, water in the well or water in the ponds or canals may dry up right now. Also, lots of water was being wasted. Getting it now. So nowadays, you see that tube wells are being increasingly used for lifting underground water and using it for irrigation. Okay, now. So now we have got some modern methods of irrigation. What were the two modern methods of irrigation?
Sprinkler system and drip irrigation.
Okay, how are they better from the traditional methods of irrigation? How are they better? One thing is that you are using water economically. We are preventing the wastage of water by the modern methods of irrigation. We prevent wastage of water. Okay, now.
So I wanted to ask you a question
Mm-hmm.
that is monoculture and crop rotation the same, a type of same?
No, no, they're completely different thing. Monoculture is a different thing. There's a difference between monoculture and crop rotation. Okay, now. So monoculture is basically what? Monoculture, it is nothing but the 1 minute. It is basically the culture of the practice of growing a single crop repeatedly. It's like during the whole year you are growing the same crop on the land. Like if you visit a village, people, you will find that people would have grown mango plants on their land. Or some people would have grown bamboo plants on their land, and they have been growing the same plant on that piece of land for, let's say, 10 years, for 5 years or 10 years. For so many years they have been growing the same type of crop on the land repeatedly, right now. And there's so many problems related to monoculture. Monoculture के साथ कई सारे problems है. Getting it now? What happens, because it creates a home for different kind of pests in that land. This land may different type of pests can grow. You know what are pests? Pests. Yes, on this.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Huh. So pests are basically any organisms that spreads diseases or causes destruction. You would find that on the leaves of the plants certain kind of insects will be growing. So इन्हें हम pests कहते हैं. Not all the insects are pests. Remember that also. सभी insects को हम pests consider नहीं करते हैं. What are some of the examples of pests? For example, mosquitoes. Okay, na? Right? Or it's not like only insects are considered as pests. Getting it? They can be creatures other than some insects also that can cause harm to the humans, not just to the crops, but humans को भी अगर harm करते हैं, in that case also they are called as pests. So pests are any organisms that are harmful to humans or that are harmful to crops also. But normally this term is particularly used for those organisms that damages the crops. Okay, na? Okay. In the case of humans में हम pest क्या देखते हैं, like snake, wasps, or bed bugs. You know, bed bugs are there, fleas, or ticks, ticks. So all of them are belonging to this category of pests. Getting it now? In the case of plants also, there are so many different variety of pests. Are you getting it clear, or are you getting confused?
No, sir, I'm getting it.
Termites क्या है? Termites are also pests. Termites, they eat wood, right now. Termites, you might have seen it, or it is whitish in color, little whitish, little creamy in color, creamish color. So these are pests. How do we control the pest? By the use of pesticides. Okay ना? Pesticides की use से हम pest के growth को control करते हैं. So pest can cause issues with not only crops but with human and animals health also. Buildings में भी ये problem create कर सकते हैं. Like if the furnitures are infected by termites, so thereby the furnitures are destroyed. Okay ना? For cockroaches are growing at a rapid rate, at a rapid speed, so thereby it might cause so many diseases in the area where people are living. So crop rotation, contrary to the monoculture, it's having so many advantages, and in this you are growing a leguminous on a non-leguminous crop alternatively. So like for one season, like for 2 to 3 months, you have grown a leguminous crop. For the next few months, like 2 to 3 months, you will be growing a non-leguminous crop. It has several advantages. Like we have studied that it can fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. Leguminous crops have got a bacteria living in their roots. What's the name of the bacteria?
Rhizobium.
Rhizobium. Also, you know that when you are doing monoculture now, so monoculture के क्या advantages हैं pests के लिए? It is good for the pest to grow, huh? But humans के लिए it is harmful. So what
So, but why
happens?
do we need pests when it is harmful for us?
We don't need it. We don't need it. In fact, they should be killed.
Then why is monoculture good for pests?
Why monoculture is good for pests? Because what happens now? In this, what is happening? The life cycle of pest is not getting disturbed. It has adapted to a certain life cycle. In crop rotation, what happens? You are growing a leguminous crop in one season. In next season, you grow non-leguminous crops. So different crops के different requirements होते हैं soil से. They take in different type of nutrients from the soil. Leguminous crops की अलग एक life cycle होती है. Getting it now? So they disrupt the soil a little bit. But in monoculture, same type of crop is grown year after year. You have basically planted the mango crop. Just you need to just water it, just take care of it. You don't have to cut it, you have to do nothing. For the next 5 to 10 years you will leave it, if it will keep on giving you fruit, huh? For as long as it leaves. So in this you are not doing any major changes in the condition of soil. Getting it, Sundar? So thereby pests have adapted to the soil very good, and their life cycle is not disrupted. Are you getting it?
So, but we want them to kill, right? Then why are we like growing them?
We intentionally are not growing pests. We are growing the same type of crop only. Intentionally, we are not growing the pest. They are out of choice. They grow on the soil. Okay? Monoculture is being practiced for commercial benefit, like bamboo cultivation. Bamboo crops are grown because bamboo would be sold in market and huge profit will be earned from it. For like whenever on a land, you will see that, for example, sandalwood sandalwood or teak wood. These are very expensive woods, na? Sandalwood and teak wood. So they are grown on a land at a large scale, and on a land, all the crops are same. All of them are of sandalwood or teak wood, for example. So monoculture is being practiced, and why monoculture is being practiced? So that they can be sold in the market at higher profits. If the farmer were to grow rice on this land instead of sandalwood, he won't get that much of profit. But growing sandalwood or teak wood will give him very much profit in the market, because these are expensive woods, right now. So
So
इसलिए
basically to
monoculture
keep
करते
away
हैं.
pests from the woods, so that's why we do monoculture.
No, no, no. See, farmer's intention is nothing related to the pest. वो कंसीडर नहीं कर रहे हैं. While they are growing the sandalwood or teakwood, their only intention is this plant will grow after a year, some year this plant will grow tall, I will cut the wood, I will sell it in the market, I will earn profit. He doesn't care about the pests, but pest के लिए favorable conditions develop हो रहे हैं.
So, but why then he is like saying that the growing of food is like problematic?
The last line you were saying, growing off.
Why is the farmer saying then like the woods are problematic when it is not like for pest?
Why wood is problematic if it's not for the pests? See, basically the whole thing here is now it's related to the life cycle also. You know that in crop rotation, what you are doing, you are growing different type of crops on the soil. In different seasons, you grow different type of crops. So
Basically,
due to,
like why sandalwood? What is causing sandalwood so problematic?
okay, no, it's not nothing. No, sandalwood not is having any problem. It's not causing any problem to the farmer. As far the farmer is, there's nothing related to problem in this. Uh, Basically, monoculture has got some disadvantages also. Basically, the thing is that if you see that biodiversity of the land is being disturbed now. If you suppose you go to you cut down all the forest land and you see that you will grow only one type of crop in it, so this will actually disturb the biodiversity. In that manner, monoculture is not good. You go to a forest, you have got different type of crops growing in a forest. I mean, different type of plants are growing there. You have got several herbal plants are there, so many woody plants are there, so many wild plants, wildflowers are growing there, so many herbs, shrubs, so many things are growing there, mosses, ferns, everything is growing there. So there's a huge diversity in the forest, and thereby it allows different organisms to grow in the forest. Different organisms grow karte hain. But now what you have done, you have cut all of it, you have burnt all of it, and you now we are growing monoculture, doing monoculture. So इससे बहुत सारे plants को हमने lose किया, and we are losing so many animals also. Getting it? Yes, Sundus, what I'm saying, you are you getting it?
Not the thing.
Not getting it. See, basically you go to a forest, okay now, what would you find? What type of trees will you be finding in a forest? What type of plants will you be finding in a forest? Yo, Khadija, assalamu alaikum. Yes, Sundus, answer this question. Suppose that you are living in early, let's say you are living 500 years ago. Let's suppose you live in a tribe, for example. Khadija, right now we are discussing about monoculture. Okay, na? What is monoculture? What is crop rotation, etc. We are discussing these things. Then we will come back to the topic harvesting. Okay, na? So suppose you guys are living in, let's say 500 years ago, you live in a tribe. So in tribe, you are having different requirements. People earlier were hunters and gatherers. Even the tribal peoples were hunters and gatherers. Okay, na? So you will find that you would require firewood from the forest. आपको forest से firewood की जरूरत है. In order to cook food, you need some wood from the forest, right? Or suppose you want to build your tent, you require some wood from the forest, right? You know that so many herbal plants are also there in the forest, so you need some herbal plants from the forest that have got some medicinal benefits, right? Now you there are some wild berries that are growing in the forest that are actually edible, right? Now, so you need the berries also from the forest. So right now we have got, for example, three different requirements coming from the forest. Firewood, you are getting berries, and you are getting wood for some medicinal plants are also there in the forest. But now what happens? Let's say someone cuts all the trees, all the plants from the forest, and now he does monoculture. He starts to grow the same type of crop on the land. Let's say he starts to grow only sandalwood. So thereby this sandal would only be cut to be sold in the market to earn huge profit. Getting it, no? So thereby the tribes that were living nearby, so they will not be having any medicinal plants from the forest. Now they don't have access to any firewood, or they don't have the wild berries which they got to eat earlier. So people are also being disturbed. Their livelihood is being disturbed. Another thing is that that there's a biodiversity of living organisms also, of animals also in the forest. You will find some wild squirrels are also living in the trees. Certain bird would be making nest in the trees. So many insects will be living there. So many reptiles will be living there in the forest earlier, but now you are doing monoculture. So not only the animals that were living in the forest are being hampered, are being damaged, even the tribal people that are living near to the forest, their livelihood is also being disturbed. So that's why monoculture culture is not considered very good, because it disrupts the biodiversity. Another thing I did told earlier, that what is the difference between monoculture and crop rotation? In monoculture, the practice itself means growing of same crops in a land for a longer period of time. Like you grow only mango plants, you grow only sandalwood or bamboo or teak wood. So that is monoculture. So this develops favorable conditions for pests to grow in that soil, because you are growing a specific crop on that land. So it becomes a home for pests. Getting it now? While in crop rotation, what the advantages is there in crop rotation, guys, that one season you grew leguminous, another you grow non-leguminous. So due to this, what happens, it disrupts the life cycle of the pests. So thereby they are left kind of confused, or they are kind of left hungry for a different host. I suppose you guys got few of the things I'm saying. Or is it clear what you are you guys getting it?
Yes.
Khadija, is it clear?
Oh, yes.
Okay, no? Okay. Also, Khadija, dear, please try to join the class on the time. Okay. So, talking about harvesting. What is harvesting?
Cutting mature crop.
Cutting the mature crops. That is called as harvesting. Very good. Okay, no? Okay. Before I move on with this, you guys tell me name of some of the weeds. What are some of the weeds that grows in wheat? That grows in wheat and rice field. Sundus, I hope you can answer. You were there in the previous class.
Can you repeat the question?
What are some of the common unwanted plants that are found to be growing in the wheat and rice field?
The weeds.
Uh-huh. We did talked about weeds in the previous class now.
Yeah.
There were some common example of weeds. Have you memorized it? See, I did give some example of some common examples. You had an example of wild oat. Khadija, you also memorized it, okay, na? You had the most common example, grass. Huh? Amaranthus is another example of a weed. One more example was chenopodium. Chenopodium, I don't think you guys would be aware, or if your mother would be aware of chenopodium, huh? Like if your mother or you go to market to buy some spinach leaves, spinach. So along with the spinach leaves, some wild plants are also there, huh? So it will be mixed with the spinach leaves. In Hindi, it is called as bathua. Have you heard of it? Hello.
Yeah. I didn't heard of it.
Okay, ask your mother regarding this. She will be telling you about this. It is actually good for the spinach leaves. It makes the cooking easier. So chenopodium,
Yeah, like what
amaranthus.
third one is that?
Third one is amaranthus. Amaranthus. Okay, now Khadija, getting it?
Yes.
Okay, a quick question. What is weeding?
Removal of the
Khadija, you say?
removal of weeds.
Okay, very good. Okay, Sundus, you tell me what is the best time for the removal of weeds? What is the best time? Hmm.
When we are done growing up in
Sundus, will you please be more clear and speak
the
loudly
I
in the mic?
said in blowing or tilling when we do all this.
Like you know that it can grow back also. Also, Khadija, you should also know one more thing. Like you are not putting the seeds of weeds in the field now. Have you ever seen people throwing seeds of grasses in the field? So how do they grow back? Huh, Sundus, Khadija? How do
Yes,
the
sir.
weeds grow on its own? Ever thought about this? Like no one went there to spread the to throw the seeds of grasses, but still it is growing again and again. Because even if you have uprooted the grasses from the field, even if a tiny fraction of root of the grass is left in the soil, it will grow back. Okay, now that's why you see that even during plowing the land, even during ploughing the land, we are uprooting the weeds, we are burying the weeds with the soil, but that does not completely eradicates the weed from the field, because roots are still there left, roots are still left in the soil, so it can reappear. So I did told you that when it starts to reappear in the field, huh, so the best time for the removal of weeds will be before they produce flowers and seeds. Okay, now so before they produce flowers and seeds, that is the best time to remove it. You can do it by hand also, by the help of implements like a hoe or or a trowel. Trowel in Hindi or Urdu it is called as khurpa. Okay, so it can be used to remove the weeds. We can use hoe also. I hope it is clear.
Isn't
What are
it called kurpi? I
khurpi,
heard
khurpa? Both are same things. Sundus. Khurpi, khurpa, it's the same thing. It kind of something looks like this. Okay, na? That's the handle of it.
I've seen it.
In the garden, you must have seen it's a agricultural implement we use in gardens, in the fields also. No, Sundus, tell me some of the examples of weedicides.
So
Some
two
of
and
the
three. Two for D.
again,
Two, four and D.
hmm, 2 comma 4D. Good.
Four.
One more example.
Um,
Khadija, have you read about its example? It's MCPA. Okay, na? MCPA. If you want, you guys can remember one more example. It's butachelor. Just remember the first two, that will be sufficient, I believe. So these are some of the weedicides that we use.
what's the last one, pardon?
Butachelor, Butachlor. Khadija, any questions?
No.
Okay. So these weedicides are first of all dissolved in water. They come in form of powder. Okay, now usually they come in powder form. So farmers would be dissolving it in water and using the sprayer, they will be spreading in the land. They will be covering their mouths and their skin in order to avoid the effects of weedicides. Also, they destroy the unwanted plants and they do not damage the main crop. You need to understand this thing also. Okay. Anyways, so having
Sorry,
this,
can you repeat again?
I
Sorry,
said,
can you repeat again?
I said that these weedicides, they do not damage the main crop. They only damage the unwanted crop, that is weeds. Okay. Hmm. But it is in studies, it is seen that it can have slight impact on the main crop. Like it can delay the period of harvesting. Okay, now delay the period of harvesting of main crops. Getting it, Khadija? Sundas? Okay, then now talking about harvesting. Now we know that it normally now takes 3 to 4 months for a crops to mature. For example, wheat, it it matures in 3 to 4 months. Okay,
Weeds.
wheat, WHEATS, wheats. Okay, no. So it normally takes 3 to 4 months for a food crop to mature. Now, lush green wheat fields and paddy fields, now they have turned to this golden yellow color at the end of its growth. You can see here in the image. Huh? So this change in color form from green to golden is actually due to the maturity of the crops, or basically ripening of crops. So dear, once the crop has matured, then it is ready for cutting and gathering. So basically the cutting and gathering of the matured crop, it is called as harvesting. So what is it? The cutting and gathering of matured crops. So crops normally take 3 to 4 months to be matured, and now its color changes from green to golden yellow in color. So that is an indication that it is ready to be cut down. Either you can cut it close to the ground by using a tool called a sickle. Look at this image over here. Either you can cut it manually. Either the farmers will be able to cut it manually. So when they do manual cutting of the crops, thereby it is called as manual harvesting. Okay, now?
Sir, can you show the last slide?
Sure. See. So that is the harvesting. Now, in the large fields, wheat and paddy, for example, wheat and paddy crops, they are cut by using a motorized machine called as a harvester. In this image also you can see this is actually a harvester. What is this? It's a harvester. Getting it now, Khadija? So what happens, like this one is also a harvester. It's a motorized machine that we are using here in order to cut the mature crops, and this is a manual harvesting over here. So which one is efficient? Obviously the harvester. It saves time, it saves money. Getting it now? Now after harvesting the crop, the next step is to do the threshing. This one over here. So after the crop, see, this is basically a crop. 1 minute. That is seeds. Seeds in their seed coat. Now, so once it has been cutted, also it will be in a cut near to the base. So this much portion is usually cut. Either you do it manually, or either you do it with the help of a harvester. Only this much part of the crop is cut. This much will be left in the ground. So you can see it from the image also here. See, you can see the tiny stems of the crop left is still buried in the crop. See this one over here. You guys can see it. This over here. Okay, now. Anyways, so once harvesting has been done, now it comes time to separate these seeds from this part, from the branch, from the crop. Okay, now so we have to separate these seeds, or basically grains or seeds, both are same thing. So after harvesting has been done, the next step is called as threshing. So this in the image you guys see what these ladies are doing. See in this first image, in the second image, so they are basically beating out the grains from the harvested crop plant. In this iron drum, these ladies are beating this crop. So what will this do? This will separate these seeds, or basically the grains, from the plant. Okay, now hope you guys are getting it. Is it clear? Okay. Now question comes next, that this threshing has been done. So in this, what happens now? Basically, you will find out uh, that seeds start to come out from it. Okay, seeds have started to come out now, but the thing is that seed coat is still there. Huh? Seed coat is also there above the seed. Now you guys know seed coat is also above the seeds now. So in this process, you will find out that due to the beating, the seed coats also start to come out. Seed coat from the seed also will start to come out. Getting it now? So threshing is process of the removal of the grains from the crops, and it's a process of beating out grains from the stems basically. And it is being done by striking the harvested crops against a hard surface, like in this image. You can see it's being beaten out on the ground, and here it is on a iron drum. Here it is being done manually, but it can be done with the help of a machine also. I hope I have an image over here. Oh. See, there's a machine called as thresher. This is manual threshing that you are seeing in this image over here, but it can be done using a machine calls also. So that is called as a thresher. So this process separates these seeds from the crop plants, and also separates the seed coat from the crop, from the seeds. The seed coats, sometimes you would see that the seed coat is called as chaff also. So you guys tell me, which one will be heavier, chaff or the seed? The seed coat, whether or you call it as chaff, the chaff is heavier, or will the seed will be heavier? Let me show you guys an image of it. I don't want you guys to get confused and wonder what it exactly is. This will give you better clarity.
Is it staff that is heavy?
Chaff will be
Heavier?
heavier. No, no, it won't be heavier. It will actually be lighter now. Just
Yeah, but do
one.
we need to use staff in any way? Like, is it um like will it give us profit the code we in our seed the seed code?
See, normally it is not
Yeah,
edible. The chaff that the seed coat normally, it is not edible for the humans, but it is given to animals, to cattle. It is given. I can't get
it
the
is
image over.
giving profit.
It is giving profit by selling it in the market. I hope you guys are getting what actually I'm talking about. I hope it is clear. It is not actually edible for the humans. Humans don't consume it, but it is given to the cattles. It is further. It is shredded, and it is then given to the cattles. So it is actually edible for the cattles, but not for the humans. Okay, no. So that is what threshing is all about. So if you do it by the help of a machine, so you'll be using a thresher. Okay, no. Then look at this image over here. Have a look at it, and you guys explain to me what is actually happening in this image.
So that's winnowing.
It's winnowing. Very good. Okay, no. So winnowing in this, what is happening basically?
Separation of grain from the chaff.
Mm-hmm. The seeds are actually being separated from the chaff.
So
Okay, no?
that's what I said. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So just speak a little bit louder. Okay.
Okay.
So see what happened in the process of threshing. You had separated the seed from the crop plant. Also, you have separated the seed from its seed coat. Okay, but seed and seed coat, both of them are mixed right now. So thereby we have to separate the seeds coat from the seed. Seed coat or basically chaff. I will be using the word chaff only. So when I use chaff, it means seed coat. So removal of separation of chaff from the seeds become very important. So it's the process of separating grain from the chaff, that is called as winnowing. So in this, what is happening? This lady is taking help of wind here actually. Okay, now. So basically, in this is what is happening. Wind is blowing from one direction. 1 minute. Hmm. You can see over here that wind is blowing in this direction. So due to this, what will be basically happening over here? That grains will be settling over here, while shaft being little bit lighter in weight, it will be settling over here. So this, let's say this is shaft. Is it clear? So with the help of wind, we separate the seed from the shaft. Getting it? So when the grain mixed with chaff and hay is made to fall from a height in blowing wind, the grain which is heavier, it falls down straight to the ground. You can see over here. It is falling down straight to the ground. 1 minute. It is falling down straight to the ground. While the shaft being lighter, it settles down at some height. It is being carried away to some distance by the wind. Okay, no. So in this way, we are separating the grains from a separate. We separate the grains from shaft in a separate heap over here. Heap is basically, it will be collected in a heap like manner. So now it can be then collected, and then now it will be this. The farmers will be storing it into the gunny bags. Gunny bags are basically nothing but the bags made out of jute. Okay, no. So that is the thing
In
about
a
it.
stored in a gunny bag, so you said that.
Again,
You said that grains are stored in gunny bags.
uh, grains are stored in gunny bags. So they are packed in gunny bags. Okay, no. Now these days, no, you guys should know that these guys, we have got a very different kind of machine called as combine harvesters. These days,
Can you repeat the term?
I'm writing it over here as well. These days we are using combines. Khadija, you haven't been asking any questions. Are you getting it or not?
Yes, I'm getting it.
Hmm. So these days, combines, combines are no, also called as combine harvesters. Okay, combine harvesters. So these combines can do dual task at one time. They can do two work at the same time. So they are used in the large farms actually for harvesting related works. Like a combine, it's a huge machine which cuts the standing cereal crops. Like it will be cutting the crops like wheat in the fields. It thrashes it. Note down that it is cutting the crop. Second thing is that it does threshing also. It threshes it also. Third thing is that it does the work of winnowing also. That it separates the chaff also. Separates the chaff. So how good it is? See, all three work is being done by the same machine called as combine. Let me show you an image. Actually, now I, I forgot to add the images. So just have a look at it in the class only.
And after the fifth step of seven practices, then we can bring it to the combined harvester.
Exactly. Getting it, no? So we can basically use this. See these giant structures that you see over here, giant machines. See these machines. See. So that over here is a combine, right? So it's a harvester, it's a thresher also. It does the work of harvesting also. It does the work of threshing also, and does the work of separating the chaff from the seed coat also. So it is actually very good, but it is actually expensive for the small farmers to afford. So thereby it is only afforded by the large field owners, large farm owners. Getting it? No? And the advantage is that all three step is being done in the same go, and the grains that are coming out from the another side. Actually, you guys now have a look at this 1 minute. Uh, Look at this mouth of it. Huh? From this grain it starts to come out. Grain is coming out of it. Okay, now. So one can
Like
directly. Yes.
then there would be like some a bucket to collect the grain, right?
Uh-huh. Obviously. If you were to look at this one more image now, in this it was actually shown here over here. In another thing, it was being collected. 1 minute. Look at over here. You can see in the first image, there are two vehicles. In the second vehicle over here, it is being collected. Okay, now? So you can look over here also. In this one, it is being collected over here. Also, it comes in different designs. So different vehicles have got different mechanisms, but all of them does the work of but all of them does these three works at the same time. Okay, now? So hope it is clear. After harvesting has been done, now it comes time for storage of the food grains. There was one more thing. There was one more thing related here. Like in India, you will find that people would be celebrating some harvest festivals also. Huh? So you have got different harvest festivals like Pongal is there, Baisakhi is there, Holi, Bihu. Hmm? So when the crops mature and they are ready to be harvested, the fields you see they turn golden yellow in color. So the sight of fields of these standing crops which are filled with grains, it fills the heart of farmers with joy. It makes the farmers very happy with the see that their fields are covered with grains. Mature crops are there. The field is looking golden yellow in color. So it fills the heart of the farmers with joy. So this brings the period of great joy and happiness in all parts of India wherever farming is being practiced. So men and women from different caste and from different culture, they celebrate the harvest season in the form of festivals. So there are some special festivals in India which are associated with the harvest. You just need to know some of them are as follows. Harvest festivals. Like Holi is there, you have Bihu, you have Pongal, then Baisakhi is also there. Getting it now, Baisakhi. There's one more. There was one more festival. I think it is Nabania. I think Nabania. So these are some of the harvest festivals. So the only thing important is that know their names, and it is important because it actually is related to the harvest. It fills the heart of the farmers with joy, and thereby they celebrate their harvest by celebrating these festivals. Next, we are going to talk about storage of grains, how the food grains are stored. So, chapter was there divided into two parts. One was crop production, next was management. Crop production we have discussed. Now we are talking about management of the crop. So, the fresh food grains like wheat, which are or rice or gram which are obtained after the harvesting, they contain good amount of moisture in them. Huh? So they contain more moisture actually than what is required for a safe storage. So thereby, first thing is that
Do
the
some
food
drying.
grains, yes,
So we do some drying if there is a lot of moisture.
very good. So that is the first step we will be doing here. Huh? So first of all, we will be doing sun drying. Very good. So they are dried in the sunshine before they are stored in order to reduce the moisture content in them. The extra moisture will start to evaporate from it. Take it. Getting it? So why we are removing the moisture? Because higher the moisture content in the food grain, higher will be the growth of different type of fungus, different type of molds in it, right now. Because moisture promotes the growth of fungus or molds. So basically, they will be damaging it and making them lose their germination capacity. The seeds won't be germinating properly if they were to be infected with fungus or bacteria. So farmers will now be storing the dried food grains either in their home in the metal bins, or in the jute
Jute bag.
bags. Good. Also called as gunny bags. Sorry.
They are also storing jute bags, right?
Jute bags or basically gunny bags. After sun drying, either they will be storing them in jute bags, also called as
If we are storing that in jute bags, we have to add the neem leaves, right? Because
ex-
then the microorganism, it will be like, it cannot come near the ground.
very good, Sandus. I was about to discuss about it. Dried neem leaves are used for storing food grains at home. Huh? So these are the ways how, at a small scale, farmers or we humans, we normal people also store the food grains. Either in, we would be basically putting dried neem leaves into them in the jute packs or in the metal beans, because it keeps the pests away. Huh? It discourages the growth of pests. Okay. Now, what about the farmers who are doing crop production at a large scale? So how they are storing this huge quantity of food grains that are grown every year? Millions of tons of grains are grown everywhere in different parts of the world. So here in India, you have a government agency called as Food Corporation of India. You have FCI. What is this? It is Food Corporation of India. What it does, it basically will be buying the grain from the farmers at a large scale. So suppose you are a farmer, from you, FCI will purchase all the grains. Okay. So they will be purchasing the grains from farmers on a large scale, and then they will be not storing it into big go downs. They store it into big go down so that it can be supplied throughout the country. From that go down, it would be supplied to different parts of the country all around the year, right now. So the talking about how large scale storage of the food grains is done. Will it be stored in metal bins? Huh? So basically, what the FCI does in their go downs, they will be storing it in two ways. Either they will be storing it in the gunny bags, getting it, Khadija, Sundus, in gunny bags that are made up of jute, or either they would be storing it into giant structures. The one that you can see here in the image in the slide here, these are the grain silos. What are they? Silos. Okay, now. So the most common method of storage of the food grain is to basically pack them into jute bags, stitch the mouth of the gunny bags tightly, and keep these gunny bags one over another in the big go downs. Okay, now. And once they have stored it there in the go downs, 1 minute. They would be spraying some pesticides. Why would they be doing so? Yes. In the godowns where they are storing the grains in silos like this. So they would be spreading that, they would be spraying that area with pesticides. So obviously the reason is to discourage the growth of pesticides in that area. Okay, now also you know that population of rats in the godowns can grow uncontrollably. Okay, now so thereby we add rat poison also from time to time. The go down rat poison is also given time to time in order to control the growth of the rats. Getting it now? So just imagine that if we don't control the growth of pesticides and the rats, millions of, I mean, lakhs of tons of food grains will be wasted every year. Okay, now? Now, you know that ideally it's not a very good solution to store the food grains. The gunny bags is not a very ideal container for food grains. Huh? But the thing is that although it has some disadvantages, like the gunny bags, it can be the threads can be teared down or it can be damaged by the rats. Okay, no, or like it is an inflammable substance. It can caught fire. What are disadvantages of storing it in the gunny bags? Like one thing is that the bags are a perishable item. Perishable, that's something that can be destroyed very easily, huh? Like it can be destroyed by the rats, or it can, another thing is that it is inflammable. It can caught fire, huh? So lots of wastage will be there. But there are some advantages. The advantages is that food grains filled in these gunny bags can be easily transported and distributed at various places. So normally we see that food grains are transported in the gunny bags. Now, in addition to these gunny bags, nowadays we are shifting towards the use of grain silos. There are some advantages of these grain silos. Huh? First thing is that you can store, talking about the grain silos, you can store bulk amount of food grains in this. So we can store bulk of food grains in the grain silos in it. Another thing about this grain silos, guys, that you can actually control the moisture content inside this. You can control the temperature inside this. You uh, it is contaminant free. Pesticides, I mean to say, there's no need to spread pesticides. Microorganisms, insects, they can't grow inside this silos. Getting it now? So grain silos are specially designed big and tall cylindrical structures that you see in this image, and they have an inbuilt arrangement for the protection of stored food grains from the pests like insects, and it gives protection from the microorganisms also. I hope it
So
is clear.
can you yes, so can you show the next slide?
This one here. Hmm. See, we can control moisture content, moisture, and
These are the advantages of it, right?
yes, advantages of using grain silos. Okay, so we can control moisture and growth of pests and microbes inside it. Definition is usually not asked, but if someone asks your definition, you will simply say that these are specially designed big and tall cylindrical structures that are used for storage of grains. I hope it is clear. One small topic is left. It will be covered in just 2 minutes. Now we have we get food from the animals also. Like we get most of our food from crops, but animals do also provide us with food, like milk, egg, and meat. Huh?
So that
So
is animal husbandry.
yes.
That is
Huh,
known as animal husbandry.
In the animal husbandry, correct. Okay, it's the practice of raising of animals. So we get food from crops, plants, but we get food from the animals also. So those animals that give you milk, they are called as milching animals. Okay, now milching, or basically milch animals. So we get milk from the milk from the milk yielding animals, and you get meat and egg. You have got meat and egg yielding animals also. So that is the thing about it. Animal husbandry, as you were saying, it is basically agriculture has got different branches. You have got sericulture, you have got pisciculture, hmm? You have got floriculture. So one of the branches of agriculture, 1 minute, is this animal husbandry also. So branch of agriculture which deals with the feeding, shelter, health, and breeding of domestic animals, that is called as animal husbandry. So in animal husbandry, proper feeding of animals is done, proper shelter is provided, they are prevented from animal diseases, and they are breeded in a proper manner. One last thing I wanted to say about this fish. Fish, you guys know that it is a very important source of different minerals, different vitamins also. Huh? Normally the people living in the coastal areas, they would be consuming fish as a major part of their diet. Fish is rich in protein. It is a